Yo, what is going on? Welcome to Jets Talk. My name is Ryan. I'll be your pilot on this very confusing, frustrating Monday afternoon, 4:30 here on the East Coast. We're getting a whole bunch of reports. Robert Salah just had a press conference, and shit's going crazy for the New York Jets, and fans don't know what's going on, so I want to talk to you guys about it. I want to let out some of my feelings. Mixed signals from inside the facility. We're hearing from Zach Wilson, mysterious sources saying that he is reluctant to play. Not mysterious sources, really big-time sources within the media landscape. And then you have Robert Salah telling the media that Zach Wilson wants to start. I'll go into his press conference. I have that pulled up so we can listen to that together. And then I want to get into my thoughts. This is the most current timeline that I saw from Dianna Russini. Timeline of events. We are reporting Zach Wilson made it clear to multiple members of the organization, players, staff, coaches of his apprehension to start due to perceived injury risk. Per sources, the conversations with Rodgers came as a result of Wilson's shared sentiments with others. So Zach Wilson talking to teammates, talking to staff, talking to people, and it gets around. You get a little bit of telephone. Aaron Rodgers makes a call, tries to settle down the fires that are going on around the Jets organization. And this just feels like everything's coming out at the seams. And look, I'll be honest, I'm like more on, I don't know. This feels more like offense versus defense to me. And I want to get into Salah's press conference before I go too crazy far into the explanation, because I think you'll sort of hear a little bit of what I'm hearing here. Let's hop over to that. If you guys are just popping in, make sure you hit that like button. Always goes a long way. But let's hop over to the Salah press conference. This is the comment about the report coming out of Zach Wilson being reluctant to play again.
Coach, a couple more. Robert, not to go back to the whole, to go back to the whole reluctant thing. I mean, what was your original thought or takeaway when that was kind of put on your desk? Because it did cite multiple people within the Jet, multiple Jet sources or team sources.
I'll be honest, that is a very good question. Like, you guys know me, I'm always going to put myself in another person's shoes to try to understand what they are or aren't feeling. And so you would say empathetically, like, we're in a society now where kids miss bowl games because they're worried about their draft status, right? And it's just kind of, so empathetically, if that discussion had been had somewhere, again, it wasn't with me, but if that conversation was had and it somehow leaked out to the media, I don't think that's indicative of his mindset.
All right, so there's still a little bit more of that clip, but I just want to talk real quick to that. What Robert Salah is saying is there's college players that want to declare for the draft. They don't want to play in their bowl game because they don't want to risk injury moving forward. Well, the Zach Wilson experiment with New York may seemingly be over, so there could be some reluctancy from Zach from an injury perspective, which is what the reports were saying that Dianna Russini and Zach were talking about. And I think we heard from Connor Hughes maybe too as well. But he's reluctant to start potentially because of perceived injury risk, why should I go out there and help this team if they're going to throw me, I was the scapegoat for everything that's going wrong. Like, clearly, when I look at the quarterbacks that I've seen out on the field for the New York Jets, I think Zach Wilson is the best quarterback for us right now, short of Aaron Rodgers coming back. But it just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, why can't we just do something right? Like, oh man, it feels like, okay, let's just listen to the rest of the press conference, then I'll get into the rest of my thoughts here.
Kid wants to play.
Kid wants to play.
As demonstrated by what he just did an hour ago. So, again, I don't know what to say to all of it. I'm just speaking empathetically, and if I put myself in his shoes and I played the what if game, but just understanding what goes through all these young men's head nowadays and how many voices are in their heads. But like I said, Zach wants the ball. He believes he's the best one for this team and the best player for this team and the best player to get it moving.
So what do I feel like? I feel like there's always two sides to every truth, right? You have one side, you have the other side, or three sides to every truth. One side, the other side, and the truth lies somewhere in between. So I do think Zach Wilson 100% talked to players around the organization saying that he's reluctant to start, probably because maybe injury might be some of the concern, but I just feel like he's being jerked around by this organization, and we didn't go out and get offensive tackles. He wasn't supposed to start this year. Like, the weapons are shit. I feel like this is a damning indictment on Joe Douglas, but the way this is talked about, so I got to pull up the other clip, but Robert Saleh discusses how he's not quite there yet to start Zach, and then I think it's Samini that asks him, why aren't you there to start Zach? We've clearly seen Tim Boyle and Trevor Siemian, but why? They're definitely not better. like objectively speaking, they're not good. And why wouldn't you go back to Zach? And Salah's just, I'm not there. And yesterday we heard from CJ Mosley, we heard from the defensive players, you heard from everyone just kind of yo, the offense is an issue. This is a big problem. And I feel like someone's head's gotta roll. And I'll be honest, I feel bad for Salah to some extent. I feel bad for Zach to some extent. And both of them, while it feels like this is a budding situation between maybe head coach and quarterback, this feels like a really damning indictment on Joe Douglas, saddling Salah with the worst quarterback room in the NFL. At least if you had a backup quarterback option to Aaron Rodgers, you could at least give Zach the redshirt season he was supposed to have for the year. This is really, really frustrating to see. And I don't think there's any real easy way out of this other than the Jets sort of, either firing Hackett, which would be obviously I feel like at least a step in the right direction, because it's clearly not the quarterbacks. The offensive line I thought was, all right for the most part yesterday. They gave up a bunch of sacks, but I feel like that was due to the lack of mobility of both those quarterbacks more than it was them just getting beat consistently. Don't get me wrong, Dalvin Cook did not look good in pass protection, and Becton gave up that hit from behind, and Carter Warren got blasted past. It wasn't pretty one way or the other. But I feel bad. I feel bad for the whole team. The defense is playing too damn hard. Defense is playing too damn hard to have this type of offensive firepower. Not even firepower. I can't even call it firepower. It's like a wet noodle. This damn offense is so bad. So bad. It is absolutely abysmal what we have to sit and watch on a week in and week out basis. This isn't football. This isn't okay. Fans shouldn't be all right with this. And something has to change. You're stuck with Rodgers. Are you going to take play calling away from Hackett? Is it a quarterback issue? Is there going to be some sort of buckling at the seams from Robert Saleh, from Joe Douglas? Apparently, we're going to have an answer on starting quarterback for this upcoming week against the Texans on Wednesday. Man. Wednesday feels like so far away. It's only Monday. You got to tell me I got to go all through tomorrow with these questions. I'm thoroughly perplexed. I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed and I'm perplexed. I don't like what I'm seeing out of this team. We went 7-3 last year and then just went on a damn skid to the end of the season. 6 straight losses. Now we look to be on pace for 10 straight after going to I don't even know what our fucking record is anymore. I'm so burnt out. I'm so fried. We're going to lose 10 in a row. That's what I'm trying to get at here. This is what this feels like. And the way that Robert Saleh is discussing the conversation of the quarterback, he's not quite there on Zach. He's not quite there on, who he's going to start, though, makes me feel like this is the defense and him sticking up for the defense saying this is not okay. Something needs to be done, and that's either a signal to Joe Douglas, go out and get someone. It's a signal to the quarterback saying, yo, you guys got to play better. It's a signal to Hackett saying, yo, sack the fuck up, dude. Start calling some better plays. But then Garrett Wilson's getting wide open and the quarterbacks aren't making the plays in the right. It's so frustrating. There's play calls that I love to see that are, Garrett Wilson's running wide open. And I feel like that's just amazing that that's what he's doing. But he's not the primary target. So I don't know if that's really a good play call at that particular point or if Garrett Wilson's just really fucking good. And then you go 2nd and 10 and we run it right up the gut. It's every single time. So it's offensive play calling. It's the quarterback room. It's the offensive line. It's wide receivers. You only have Garrett Wilson and Tyler Conklin. You got Breece Hall, but he can't do anything without an offensive line. He's got really bad per carry numbers, but he's your only home run threat along with Garrett Wilson. They showed some stat on the TV the other day that was Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall account for, I think it was 7 of our 10 touchdowns. I think that was the number. 7 of our 10 touchdowns. It was the highest percentage of any duo on a team in the NFL. You can't rely on that all the time. You can't rely on the home run threat. And the defense is frustrated. You pitched 13 points. 13 points yesterday. This damn team. It's insane. Insane that you have to sit here and talk about how the offense can't muster more than 6 points. The defense got you an extra 2. Damn it. Damn it. Damn it. Like, really? That's where we're at. And now we got the quarterback spiraling thing. Like, at least this is like semi-interesting. Damn. This sucks. Let's see what Blitz Crew has to say. Blitz Crew says, some in Zach's circle probably said he was reluctant, but Zach would play this like Aaron, not saying anything official. So I don't think there's anything public that's going to be said about Zach having these conversations. Like, I don't think that the team is going to acknowledge it, because if they, or not that they won't acknowledge it, Salah clearly talked about it. And if Zach was reluctant to play, he would not be on this team anymore. And that's where they're like kind of getting at. It's like, you better want to play if you want to be here. We want guys that want to be here. It's been their motto the whole entire time. And I do think it's absolutely true that Zach probably shows some reluctancy because he's probably feeling a little bit jaded. And I don't feel like, I'm kind of in the middle here. like I don't think he's the biggest problem. And I feel bad for him. I feel bad for both Salah, who I think was just trying to do the right thing, play the best quarterback, and that was Zach. And then when we got knocked out of contention, more so than not, he's like, okay, we're going to Tim Boyle. We're going to Trevor Siemian. Clearly, both those guys are terrible. And I told you guys Zach was our best option. And I'm getting all this shit all the time. And Joe Douglas, who's up in his ivory tower, isn't saying anything. Joe Douglas needs to come down and address the media. This is unacceptable to allow Robert Salah to be the only person taking these kind of media bullets. Absolutely nuts. Salah did say he's going to talk to the everyone on the team to figure out the quarterback situation and the best direction for the team. Like, this does not look good. Not look good. Super frustrating. Very frustrating. Ant Jets comes in. He says embarrassing as well. I don't understand how we continue to embarrass ourselves year after year. I mean, you look at how we came from the Gase era, and you think, okay, yeah, there's no way you can get worse than Frank Gore up the gut over and over and over again. And then we continue to just suck ourselves year after year. Year after year. It's unreal. Why? Why can't we just have nice things? So I think a few things are true. Yes, Zach Wilson absolutely talked about this, because I would feel the exact same way. I would. I'd be pissed. I'd be really mad. There was a shot of him on the sideline standing next to Aaron Rodgers. He's got the big coat on, and you could tell Rodgers was just having a very stoic conversation with him, and Zach was just listening. But there was no real smile. There was a slight smirk at the end of the cut. But man, it looked like Zach was pretty pissed, because I think he realizes he's the best quarterback on this roster, and he thinks he's probably getting done dirty. But at the same time, the GM isn't going out there and trying to do anything for the season, not trying to get a better quarterback, not trying to get offensive linemen at the trade deadline, not trying to bring in Ezra Cleveland or Lyle Collins, or I don't know. It's just it sucks. I feel way more irritated at Joe Douglas and that we haven't heard from him than anything else that I've heard so far. So I'm frustrated. Let me know your thoughts. Stay Stalin says, there's no right answer here. Early in the season, Salah defended Zach week in and week out, and the fans called for him to be fired for not benching Zach. So yes, and I'm there. I think I was at a point, I would say the Charger game. I thought Siemian should have been active for the Charger game, and I thought we should have had the opportunity to see him. I saw Boyle in training camp. I knew dead as daylight Tim Boyle was not the answer. But Trevor Siemian was the interesting one for me. And Trevor Siemian doesn't look like he's the answer either. Zach Wilson is clearly the beneficiary of the last 2 weeks. I've come on my postgame each of the last 2 weeks, and I've said, Zach Wilson won the week. That's how it feels. That's how it feels. Zach Wilson, behind the offensive line as it's currently constructed, I think is better than what he's had to deal with recently, and would be better than what we're seeing out of Siemian and Boyle. But I would have liked to seen Simeon in the Charger game. But guess what? Now we're in this weird situation where you bench Zach, and you did it to him last year. Last year, his confidence was shot. This year, I don't think his confidence is shot. I think he's more like, yo, tough cookies. Like, I put in for time off. And then my boss calls me and he says, well, hey, someone called out. Can you come in? That's what this feels like if I'm Zach Wilson. I don't blame him. I don't blame him at all. And I don't blame Salah. Like, that's the fucking screwy thing about this. It sucks on both situations. Like, Zach's wrong for thinking that. Salah's wrong for just, like, the entire situation that's, like, sucked with the quarterback situation. But it's Joe Douglas's fault. It's his damn roster, and he put a shit fucking quarterback room together and I shouldn't say no weapons. But, like, it just really sucks. The offense is clearly holding this team back, and it's been far too long to deal with this if you're a Jet fan. Mitt Flair. Thank you so much for the super chat. He says, I missed the times when the team was bad. At least they had an excuse. Now the team has some serious talent and they suck even harder. Is this hell? So I'm more on the, like, I'm upset at Hackett kind of train for the lack of success on the offense because of what Denver is doing now. Denver last year under Hackett sucked. Jets this year under Hackett sucked. Under LaFleur, the Jets offense sucked with Zach. But when you saw Josh Johnson come in, Joe Flacco come in, or Mike White come in, the offense had success. Now we've seen Simeon and Boyle and Zach, and to some tiny degree, Aaron Rodgers, like, for 4 passes. But, like, the offense didn't, it just sucks. It really sucks, and I think it's on Hackett. I think that's a big problem. I think Hackett and Douglas are the two biggest fish for me that are, like, really pissing me off right now. And I don't know the right answer. I don't think they're going to move on from Hackett. I think they should try moving play calling responsibilities. But if you're going to, like, if you have guys running wide open like Garrett Wilson was yesterday, then, like, how do you blame Hackett? Right? Like, this is the conundrum we find ourselves in as Jet fans. William M. says, I don't blame Zach Wilson at all. Dude, I don't know. I have to blame him a little bit, but I feel bad for him. But it's not his fault he's the best quarterback on the roster. I think that's more where I fall on the Zach Wilson stuff. Because I don't think he's a bad dude. I don't think he's necessarily untalented. But he was supposed to get the redshirt year. This was going to be the reset. And he got screwed. And Jet fans got screwed. And everyone got screwed. Tigo says, after what we just saw today, I don't know how you run this whole staff top to bottom back. A head will roll. I think it's JD, and I don't know how I feel about that. I agree with you, Tigo. I think Douglas needs to address the fans. I think that's a big, serious problem. I think he needs to own up and not let Salah take these fucking, questions nonstop. I feel bad for Salah. I feel bad for Zach. I feel bad for Jet fans. I don't think Douglas is bad at identifying talent. I think he would get scooped up really fast. It wouldn't shock me if he was, like, the guy that would have to fall. I'm hoping they just pull the trigger on Hackett. I hope he is the guy, because I do feel like the offense moved last year. It didn't move at all the entirety of this year. Like, this is the worst offense ever in the history of the NFL. Like, you're talking, like, probably the 40s is the last time we saw something quite like this. Unreal. Bacon Hawk says Hackett is the worst play calling in NFL, but can only get rid of him if Rodgers wants a better play caller. So I really think the move is to move on from Hackett and just say, hey, we got to go with another person. We got to go with someone else. Like this is not acceptable. It's him or Douglas, right? Like, I mean, maybe you say, hey, Douglas, you didn't get the quarterback in here, and that's really the crux of the whole thing because Salah and the team were playing the best quarterback the entire time, and Zach Wilson. Damn. Blitzcrew says, not a Zach truther. If I were Zach dealing with Jet fans trashing him, now pulling a 180, not wanting to jump back in would make sense. Aaron needs to let us ditch Hackett. JD needs a conference. JD definitely needs a press conference. I want to see Hackett gone, and I do think Zach is probably reluctant from all the shit that fans talked, all the shit that the players probably talked, or maybe not the players, but like, there was a big sentiment of like, okay, we got to switch from the quarterback to try and spark something because the offense does suck. and they know they have their hands tied with Hackett, and I think everyone's just getting real frustrated. Zach Wilson was out on the field throwing. He was inactive yesterday, but he was one of the first guys out on the field throwing the route tree for like 20, 30 minutes before warm-up started. Zach Wilson has done the right thing. Zach Wilson looks like the beneficiary of the last 2 weeks of play. If I'm a Jet fan and I'm looking at what I've seen on the field, I'm looking at Zach Wilson, I'm saying, man, I miss you. I miss watching football with you. And like, that sucked. But like, I feel like I'm like so torn on where to assign blame. I'm like definitely on board with Joe Douglas, and I'm definitely on board with Robert Salah. Not Robert Salah, Joe Douglas and Nathaniel Hackett. I feel bad for Salah and like the offense because I think they've played who they think is really the best person. Carlos says, hi, Ryan. Complete mishandling of the season. This is on the business side. How could you send out this report in just 24 hours that we lost a friggin' game? We come out looking like this. Yo, this is going to get ugly. And the Jets are going to get a really high pick. Now, you want me to be optimistic and have like the little sugar coating on it? Maybe Zach Wilson doesn't want to be here. Maybe the Jets offense wants to move on. And the Jets looking like an incompetent fucking franchise saves us a goddamn draft pick in a trade because no team's going to think we're incompetent. Glass half full. That's so stupid. That's so dumb. I'm sorry. That's my own thinking here. Oh, American says, remember how promising the season was. We all knew things wouldn't be as good without Aaron Rodgers, but how in God's name did it get this fucking low? Dude, I don't know. I was there week 1. I'm sitting there in the stands, watching go down, head in the hands. Like, wow, this is going to suck. This really blows. I saw this last year. But you know what? We got a new offensive coordinator. Maybe he's going to call something that's better suited for our quarterback because last year, Mike White and Zach Wilson, for whatever reason, couldn't figure it out for the last 2 years. Maybe this was going to be all right. Not all right, but like, hold. Keep it, popsicle sticks and bubble gum. Just hold together until Aaron Rodgers comes back. We got that little glimmer of hope the entire season. And it's like just unraveling so fast. I want answers, and I want Joe Douglas to take the stand. I want him to take the stand. Answer the questions. Steven, I'm worried that if we don't do something, we're going to lose Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, and Sauce. So I don't think we're going to lose them because I do think Aaron Rodgers is coming back. I think this is where the frustration lies, though. Like, something has to get done because I don't know if this offense gets fixed, even with Aaron Rodgers right now. Wild Wave says, what happens if Josina Anderson's report was true and the Jets invested too much in the quarterback position and ownership said no more? So I was talking about that the other day too, and it's one of those things where you say, hey, look, the Jets gave up a ton of stuff in draft compensation. They gave up a ton of money. They paid the second most amount of money in cash spent in the free agent market in the offseason with Quinnen Williams' contract extension, with Aaron Rodgers, with Alan Lazard, all the guys they signed in the offseason with how much cash they paid out. Second most in the NFL. Then they didn't take out the insurance. You don't take out the insurance, that would have saved you an additional $20 million. Then you get the NFL. I think Woody Johnson definitely wanted the primetime games. That's why the trade happened earlier. I think, the lack of the insurance money is why they didn't want to invest more money into the quarterback. They saw the benefit probably of, I don't know. You can't waste another prime year defense. Like, that's what's so friggin' frustrating of all this. But I could see that. I could see it being, ownership's decision. Like, hey, we're going to roll with Zach Wilson as our other guy. I don't know. I almost hope it was Woody so I can, like, deflect from the other parts of the organization. But, like, the fish rots from the head down anyway. So, like, Woody's got to take some blame in some capacity on this. But, like, dude, I feel like Douglas needs to answer to the fans. Gotta say something. This is your mess, dude. Your mess. Mutt Viles, what's up, dude? Thank you for the super chat. He says, so why did we bench Zach again? The rest of the quarterback room is worse. Zach now is not only ticked off about being benched, but wouldn't be shocked if he was more scared now to play Joe Douglas, fire hack, or cut sack. So I am fine with the benching of Zach Wilson to see what you have in Trevor Siemian and to see what you have in Tim Boyle. I shouldn't say not. I'm not fine with the Tim Boyle. I would have been fine with Trevor Siemian. I'm fine after, if theoretically, if you'd seen Trevor Siemian first, then, trying it with Boyle, I guess. But I think Robert Salah played the best quarterback he could have played. I think the team knew that. I think Zach was the guy. I think they felt pressure to try and make a change because they just had to get something sparked. They clearly see that Siemian and Boyle are not the guy, but I think Salah's going to want to give Siemian one more week, like a week of prep instead of being thrown into the game. But I feel like Zach gives us the best chance to win. And for Robert Salah to have this weird middle of the road stance of I'm not there yet on a quarterback decision, to some degree I feel good. They're trying to make the right call and the right decision. To another extent, I feel like he's stalling. If Zach Wilson really doesn't want to play, then if I'm Robert Salah, I still say the company line that he just touted out there saying Zach Wilson does want to start. I would still say that I'm undecided, because if I say, oh, Zach's starting, Zach says, nuh-uh, fuck that, then it's my ass on the line. I'm sorry. This shit sucks. All right, you guys, I see you guys want to do call-ins. Let's do this. Let's hear what you guys have to say. Call-in number is going to be on the screen. Let's see. Let me see if I can pin the comment there. It's going to be in the pinned comment. You can click on that. I will have you guys come in live. I want to hear what you have to say in terms of what do the Jets do? What is going on? What is going on, Jet fans? All right, we got Cameron joining the show. Cameron, how you doing, brother?
Man, I'm a Jets fan. How could anybody be? Let's be honest.
Brutal.
Born and raised in New York. I live in Wisconsin now, so I had to watch Rodgers leave from my team. I was excited, but as far as the Wilson thing goes, I honestly think he probably doesn't want to go back in. He's seen the dog shit offensive line. He's seen how bad this team plays, and he's like, I don't want to take the blame for this crap anymore. He's like,
you're costing me money. That's what he's probably thinking.
Right.
Your shitty building of a team is costing me a contract and a 5th-year option at the end of all this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's like, it's not worth it at this point. And I don't blame him. I mean, we need something new, and we shouldn't keep hurting this kid. I'm not saying he's been good anywhere else, but maybe you'll see. Maybe he becomes a quality backup with another team somewhere in the NFL, the Rams, I don't know, if San Francisco maybe, a true offensive team knows what he could do. You got to give him a shot.
So frustrating, because I feel like we haven't had a good offensive presence around him. You had a young first-time signal caller in Mike LaFleur. You have Nathaniel Hackett, who has sucked in 2 different locations now. And Denver called plays for Aaron Rodgers, was purely his quarterback buddy. Wouldn't it have been nice if we just hired him as quarterback coach and we got someone else as OC? Damn.
That would have been great, but yeah, it does. So, but that's all I wanted to say. Good luck to the team, and good luck to Zach.
Dude, Cameron, thank you so much for the call. You have been ejected from the cockpit. I've got Mike, then Steve, then Nick T. I'll get to your guys' calls in the order that they're coming in. Jet Unleashed, I will pick up your call in just one moment. Mike Lee. Mike D's life says, is this more miserable? Thanksgiving, the Gase years kind of feels like it is for me. This is brutal. I feel like this is worse because of how good we are, how good this team should be, how good this defense is. At least under Gase, the defense was not very good. And or at least not to the level that it is now. This is a top elite defense in this league. This is top 5 defense for the last 2 years. And to see it get to the way it is right now, this feels more depressing to me. T. Willie comes in, says, this is a clown show. I can't believe we are here. I completely agree. Boys and girls, I'm going to take more of your calls right now. I've got Mike joining the show. Mike, how are you doing today?
Not too good. Can you hear me okay?
I got
Sorry, I'm driving. I'm just that pissed off.
That is all right.
So I have a question for you. I have one question for you. If you took Adam Gase and gave him Olberg as your defensive coordinator with this team, do we have a better offense?
I 100% agree. I think we do 100%. I think Adam Gase was not good at like play calling and stuff, but he's light years better than Nathaniel Hackett.
It's disgusting. The fact that we have a top 5 defense and a historically low offense is only something the Jets could come up with. That's only
Oh,
something we can muster. And, Zach Wilson not wanting to play, don't blame him, because what have we done for him? The fans have booed him off the field multiple times. We clamor for him to get off the field, and now we're begging on our hands and knees for him to come back. For what? Like, why would you want to play for us?
Oh, dude, I completely agree. I don't like if
we're
I'm Zach
a
Wilson,
joke of a
I feel like
franchise.
I'm getting screwed. I feel like I'm getting screwed if I'm Zach Wilson.
You are. So let's look at some of the past Jets quarterbacks. Sam Darnold, now a viable backup on the 49ers. Geno Smith, playoff type of quarterback on Seattle. Our quarterbacks leave and always do better on other teams, at least the last ones. We have not developed quarterbacks. We have not developed an offense. We do the same rigmarole where we hire an OC who as a head coach, or we hire like a defensive coordinator as a head coach, and they suck because they can only manage one side of the ball and not both sides of the ball. You need a guy who can do both. We have never done that in the past 30 years. Rex Ryan was the same way. He didn't have an offense because he couldn't do it. Woody Johnson has yet to find the guy. And Joe Douglas, I liked him, but that one draft class is really saving his ass. And Bryce Huff, those are the 4 good moves he made. He drafted 3 guys in the first round. Wow, holy shit, man, you really nailed that one. So tough missing Sauce Gardner with a 4th freaking pick. Like, he did those things right, but you miss on Wilson. AVT has been injured across the board. You missed on Wirfs. You took Becton instead. That's been a miss and a half. I don't care who says Becton's playing better. Guy can't stay healthy. I don't care.
Completely
What
agree.
else has he done? Oh, Elijah Moore, gone. Denzel Mims, gone. 2 second-round picks wasted. So, in all honesty, besides those 3 guys, what has Douglas actually done for this team?
Dude,
And if you're saying
I
nothing,
have a hard time defending him. Like,
you can't defend him for this. It's too bad. It's too bad. It's too disgusting. You aren't this bad after 4 years unless you fucking suck as a GM. Pardon my French, but that's what it is.
Dude, you're spitting facts. I mean, I think Douglas, I will say this. I think the roster is 100% better now than when Douglas took it over. But at the same time, the failings on the offensive side of the ball are 100% on Joe Douglas right now. It's a bad pick in Becton. It's a bad pick in Mims. It was a bad pick in Elijah Moore. It was a bad pick in Wilson. Like, we got screwed time over time, and it is friggin' frustrating. Mike, thank you so much for the call. You've been ejected from the cockpit. Guys, give me 1 second. I'm just going to change my little timer here. I'm going to do 1 minute timers. I got a lot of you guys calling in right now, and I want to get to all your calls as best I can. So give me 1 second. All right. We're going to go to Steve. Steve, how are you doing today, brother?
Rough, man.
Dude, fucking every time. Something stupid happens to us.
Every time, dude. It's, but it's funny because you said it before. I don't think it's a lack of trying for Joe Douglas with our O-line and whatnot. But we have to be on point here. The O-line is the biggest problem we have. I'm not saying Zach's not the problem or the other quarterbacks or that we don't have a crappy quarterback room. We do. But it starts in the trenches, both sides of the ball, and we have not bolstered that O-line. And I think we've tried. I just think we've failed, and we're injury prone, and the field sucks, or whatever it is. But or first, I don't know, man. It's just it's a bit much to keep redundantly going through this each week without a change. As far as the Zach Wilson stuff goes, with him saying he doesn't want to play and stuff, I mean, how much are we going to feed into media bullshit all the time? We don't know what goes on inside that facility between the coach.
So you don't think that's true? I mean, I honestly, I don't blame Zach if that's how he's feeling.
Where there's smoke, there's fire. Maybe he said something along those lines, but I don't think he told the organization that he's not going to play. I just don't see that helping his stock going to another team even after this. So I don't think he would do that. I don't know where the Jets go from here, man. They got a lot of work to do. I think we have more problems than we anticipated. O-line, coaching, receivers, creativity, which goes with the play calling. They're going to run it back though, because Rodgers is going to come back and they're going to run it back, and we'll see what happens next year. But they don't fix that O-line, it's not going to work no matter what. So that's how I feel.
Completely agree, Steve. You've been ejected from the cockpit. Guys, if you want to call in, I do have the pinned comment in the live chat. I'm going to change it to 2 minutes. I feel like 2 minutes is good. A minute kind of flew by right there. So let me go to Nick T. Nick T joining the show. How you doing, brother?
Hey, Ryan. How's it going, man?
Dude, this sucks.
I know. Cheers to that. But I got to say, man, I don't really know, like, what the deal. Like, we make adjustments. We got Izzy Abanaconda. We got rid of Michael Carter, who had a couple highlight runs yesterday for Arizona. I'm sure you probably saw that. Oh, yeah. And we can't even play the guy. We can't even get a guy a snap.
Dude, it's unreal.
And I'm cracking up because I'm talking to my buddy, and here we are, Hackett. We've been waiting all year for Hackett to roll out quarterbacks and do some mobility, change the pocket. And we have this guy who's 6'4", 6'6", who can't move, and we're rolling him out. And we have Zach Wilson, who runs a 4.6 40.
I know, we like to not make sense. That's our MO. Like, just do whatever you think we should do. Let's just do the opposite. That's what it feels like. A consistent thing. The incompetence is honestly incredible year over year.
And the other thing I gotta get, this is driving me crazy, and I'm sure the points we give up at halftime, and I blame Salah right before the half, 2 minutes every time. Whether it's something stupid, and this one might not have been him. It's a draw play to Breece Hall, and he runs out of bounds and saves Atlanta a timeout. It's little things like that constantly happen. Tell your players, just go down in bounds. We're not getting a first down. Everyone knows we're not getting a first down.
So do you think they move off of Salah, or should they move off of Salah right now? Like, what's your answer?
You can't. You have to let them ride it out with Rodgers, and it's terrible because hopefully they can fix something. I'm of the belief, just like a lot of your other callers, that the offensive line gets fixed. A lot of things get fixed. Becton, real quick before you kick me off, Becton should be a right tackle. He's a Pro Bowl caliber right tackle. He's not a left tackle. Keep your tweets pinned wherever you want, Makai. You're not a left tackle. You're a great right tackle. He can bowl over people on the right side. He'll be great there. But, yeah, we need a left tackle to anchor down the line.
Nick T, you've been ejected from the cockpit. Boys and girls, if you'd like to call in, the call-in number is on the screen there. I've got Jonathan, then Jimmy, then Carson on the line. I'm going to go to Mike, the stat guy, real quick. He says, Salah is lying. Check out my tweet on how I know. So, all right, let's see. Mike, the stat guy, did you send it to me? I'm assuming you probably sent it to me. I hope you sent it to me. Let's see. Mike, the stat guy, did you send it to me? You're going to have to let me know, because otherwise I can't do it. Send it to me on Twitter. Unless I could just type in, is your name just Mike, the stats guy? Watch the first question and the second one. Full response. Just about Zach Convo. Watch the body language for the first question. So I'm going to have to watch this probably after the fact. The body language and all that is going to be tough for me to gauge while I'm watching this right now. But I will go back and watch that. I am interested to see in what you got going on over there. Douglas comes in the super chat. Thank you so much. Says, I'm not convinced if any of the available quarterbacks, if placed on this team with this play caller, would really have moved the needle on offense over what Zach has been able to do. Yes, the team is that bad. I think the team is that bad. I think the offensive line with the injuries we've had is unreasonable, to say the least, for Jet fans. Like, this is unreal how bad our injury history is. But I do think that we should see more success than we currently see. And I think part of that is the play calling. But, you never even tried to get another quarterback in here. We saw Zach Wilson last year. Like, Zach wasn't supposed to start. You were supposed to give him some time. But the offense just can't play the way they've been playing. It's inexcusable. Like, you're watching backup quarterbacks, you're watching third-string guys come in on other teams and have success. The fucking Texans turned their team around. We're playing them this week. They turned their team around because they got stupid lucky drafting the number 2 overall pick. They wanted Bryce Young. They lucked into C.J. Stroud. And now their fortunes have turned around. It's so frustrating. Just everything about this team and everything that we got going on. Guys, I'm going to get to your calls in just a moment. Garrett says, if you're forced to keep Hack, make him the quarterback coach, keep Aaron Rodgers happy, and sign a competent offensive coordinator. I would love to bring in like a Frank Reich or someone like that. Give me someone. Like Frank Reich, at the very least, you could say, okay, if we have to pull the plug on people, at least this dude's a face in the room that we would have 1 year to the next year. Keep Ulbrich if you want to make Ulbrich the head coach and Reich is the offensive coordinator, or whatever you want to do. I think you got to bring in someone. I don't think you can demote Hackett, but I feel like you got to bring in. I feel like you should fire Hackett, honestly. But I think you got to bring in someone else offensively. And I don't know how you convince someone that's really good to come out and either look at Zach or look at like this quarterback room or what's going on and put their career on the line. Blitz Crew comes in and says, I feels like it's the water boy and we are using offense for dummies to call our play calling. Let's bring back Strevler would be fun at least. I just want to see the Wildcat. Give me the Wildcat with Zach Wilson. Like Breece Hall, Zach Wilson, Izzy Abanikanda. Just let them run wild. Screw it. Have fun. College offense. That's what I want to see. Let's go over to Jonathan. Jonathan, how you doing, brother?
Hey, what's going on, Ryan?
I'm hanging in there.
So,
I'm trying to stay
everyone,
positive.
Yeah, same. Like everyone, I guess we're all trying to like grasp for straws on what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
But couple things with that report, that Diana Rossini report. Not to knock reporters for reporting. It's surprising that anything leaks out. Usually, Joe Douglas keeps a tight ship when it comes to leaks. So if that's
Especially
a legit
with Aaron
leak, I think
Rodgers,
that's
too.
another indictment.
Well,
Yeah,
I think you're right.
but the fact that
that's interesting. If things are starting to leak out now, then there's holes in the ship.
Yeah, but the fact that they name dropped him, and every time there's a report with his name, I tend not to believe it because it ends up being like misconstrued. Which this seems to be something that may have gotten leaked out, might have been something he said, but you know, we're low hanging fruit now. The media just is going to bash us to reestablish the circus narrative, you know, and that's what I think is a big part of that article. And then
Dude,
just with the injury.
Yeah, go.
Sorry, I know I'm like keep cutting you off.
No.
I think it's the
I'm
connection.
talking over you.
You
You got 2 minutes, so fire away. Let's go.
And then with the injuries, I mean, it's the turf. We saw how many of our own guys. Aaron Rodgers went down on our turf. We lost 3 offensive linemen in one game on our turf. Our turf is a big problem, but I feel like that's part of it. Ever since we lost Salah because he was an idiot and wanted to knee a player running down the sideline, we've had these injury problems that I don't even think we've had. Yeah, and I don't think enough attention is being placed on the strength and conditioning crew that we've had now. I think Aaron even mentioned it.
I feel like they replaced something either this year or last year, and it still was bad. It's like it's incredible how injury prone we've been over the last like probably 3-4 years. It's like always a high number of salary on the IR.
I think we just got to blow up that whole department because even Aaron mentioned it in the Pat McAfee. I don't know if it was before or after. Like when he hurt his calf, he mentioned he never even did, you know, he never needed to do drills like that. He does all these kind of workouts and everything. And that was the first time he ever did a calf exercise like that. He tweaks his calf in the summer, and pops the same Achilles later.
Dude, I don't think you're wrong, Jonathan. I don't think you're wrong. You've been ejected from the cockpit. Let's go over to Jimmy. Jimmy, how you doing, brother?
Listen, man, I'm miserable. Like every other Jets fan right now. I have a couple of notes here. I write things down after the game, you know, just trying to get through it. But my first thing here I'd like to share with everybody is when you look at that whole nonsense that we dealt with Rodgers committing to the team, was he going to be on the Jets in the summer? Was he not? I feel like we missed out on a lot of free agency. And, you know, JD can hit on the draft and everything. He's hit or miss. We've obviously had good draft picks like Breece Hall and GW, but we miss out on free agency. Like if you look at guys like Tooney and the O-line, we don't need to necessarily hit in the draft. We need to hit in free agency. And, you know, it's going to suck dealing with the rest of the season. We're out of it. We're low-hanging fruit, like he just said, and the media is just going to make fun of us. And that's just the Jets. It's the media market. When things are when things are bad, it's really bad. When things are good here, it's really good. So we're just gonna have to hang together, be strong Jets fans, be a good family. But like, we really, really need to have a bombshell free agency, and I really think that we're gonna get Adams. I really think that we're gonna solidify the O line. JD when he first came here, and I'm just as pissed off as everybody else with JD and Salah. But when you have like guys that are like Dwayne Brown that are like 40 years old playing O line, it's a physical position, and football's a violent sport. We can't be having these older guys, even though they might be good, and not expect injuries. And we have to have mitigation plans and cover our asses essentially with these guys. And I like Joe Tittman. Makai's obviously been injury prone, but we just really got to solidify that free agency period and take advantage of it.
Yeah, dude, I completely agree. Like so Rodgers committed to the Jets just prior to the start of free agency. It was like right there, those few days in the negotiating period, and we didn't have Joe Tooney. We didn't have the quarterback under contract, obviously, until right before the draft. So the time to get Aaron Rodgers was either the beginning of free agency, make it happen, get the offensive lineman like an Orlando Brown that you offered a contract to, who decided to go to Cincinnati because they had the quarterback. You could have protected his Achilles. Maybe you save a season if you pulled the trigger earlier. You either pull the trigger earlier and take the advantage of free agency, or you wait till in summer and use all your draft picks.
100%. We just need to commit. And, everybody's playing the game where they're worried about losing their job. And at this point, like, we're going to see it work or not work. And JD really has to get his shit together and make sure that if he's going to sign somebody, and like Laken Tomlinson was, in my opinion, a little bit of an overpay for his production. But
I like the swing, though. I like the swing coming from the same offense. I feel like that should have hit better than it did. Jimmy, thank you so much for the call. You've been ejected from the cockpit. Got a lot of people on the line. Sorry, going to move quick. We got 2 minutes on the line. I got Carson joining the show. Carson, how you doing tonight?
What's going on, Ryan? Let me I got 2 minutes. So, listen, the Joe Douglas criticism, there is fair criticism, but listen, no GM is ever perfect in sports. If there was, then the team would win every single fucking year. So,
dude,
let's be a little.
Joe Douglas come out and talk to us though. Like, I feel like he's the one that didn't like stock the quarterback room. Like, I feel like Salah did play the best guy.
Yeah, so if you had a caller earlier about like what Joe Douglas has done, so I kind of write notes as the stream goes on. So let me just kind of put this into a generalized topic. Let's not forget he did have Blake Cashman here, who's turning into a beast with the Texans. So it looks like a bad trade there. JFM, Huff, Adams, MC2, Quincy, Sauce, Garrett, JJ Brees, DJ Reed, Elijah Moore, who's turning into a beast in Cleveland, AVT Titman, and the overall thing was the Jamal Adams trade. I mean, come on. That's a pretty good fucking resume, excuse my French, in 3 years. Okay? So let's back it up with the criticism. Okay? Now, if we're moving to Robert Salah in terms of a head coach, okay? Yes, there's fair criticism that in certain times he makes decisions that are to be left questions, no doubt about it. Every head coach does at some point in their tenure as a head coach. They'll make questionable decisions. Listen, when we hired Robert Salah as head coach, I loved the hire personally. This could have been all avoided if we fucking hired Joe Brady, like I said day one. Joe Brady was my guy. Brady,
do you remember
why is this?
My mock off season, I had so we wouldn't have had Douglas because it would have been prior to, or no, I guess we would have had Douglas because it was before Robert Salah. I wanted Brian Daboll and Joe Brady as that or Kafka as my OC. Like that was the plan. But Brady went back to
a young head coach,
Buffalo. Not Brady. Sorry, Daboll went back to Buffalo the year we hired Salah. He was hired by the Giants a year later.
Yeah, young offensive mind with Zach Wilson. I mean, come on, like. Joe Brady with Zach Wilson. How much better would that have looked?
Right? So
have
much better.
Ryan.
Carson, you've been ejected from the cockpit. Boys and girls, I'm going to go for just a little bit longer here. I've got Omar, then Mutt Viles coming up, then Jay, then Charles. And then I'm going to be over on the AFC East roundtable with Richie at 6 o'clock. And then I'll be back over here for a call-in show at 8 o'clock. So I got a lot going on today. Very, very excited. Let's go over to Omar. Omar, how you doing, brother?
Hey, you hear me, Ryan?
I got you loud and clear.
So I'm getting so frustrated with the whole with all this fake news that gets put out there.
Mm-hmm.
We keep regurgitating this fake news. We keep regurgitating the crap that comes out from the beat reporters, all of them, especially Connor Hughes. I'm sick and tired of it, and I'm calling him out by name. And I that's why I had told you, Ryan, a few weeks ago at the beginning of the season, I appreciated the fact that you and Richie and others were going to the actual training facility, One Jets Drive, and seeing things with your own eyes and reporting things that you guys saw. That was better reporting than anything that has come out from the beat or whatever the case may be all year long. So I just wanted to say that. I'm getting sick and tired of
I appreciate
just
that.
And then that feeds the negativity and the toxicity in this fan base, and that we wanted Zach on and we want to give Zach all these, just all the blame. And he's been the scapegoat of all this. So maybe if there was any truth to this, we're all saying it. We don't blame him. We don't want to get hurt. But you know what? I don't want Garrett to get hurt. I don't want Brees to get hurt. We got 8 losses. Shut them all down.
Yeah.
Shut them all
100%.
down.
Dude,
But
I agree.
will say this, I believe Robert.
I would rather just bottom out and say, like, oh, everyone's got phantom injuries. like, save your bodies for next year.
I believe Robert Salah when Robert Salah says, hey, Zach came into my room and wants the ball, I believe him. Because that, to me, is the makeup of this kid and his whole family. Also, someone else mentioned before about things that Joe Douglas did. How about Ashton Davis? We all wanted him gone. He's balling out right now.
Dude, I'm loving Ashton right now.
So
I was happy he was here this past year. I wasn't sure if we'd like actually resign him for this coming off season. I hope we do though. He's always around the ball.
The good outweighs the negative with Joe Douglas and Robert Salah. We bought in Aaron Rodgers. We went all in. Maybe we didn't have the best backup plan, but Aaron Rodgers was supposed to fix the issues that we had in this offense. Let's be real. We saw it on Hard Knocks. Remember that episode where Salah said, man, something is missing here. Whatever it was, we've never found it. Even with Rodgers here, we would still have some of these issues. So it is what it is, guys. We got to suck it up and just get ready for next year. I really feel like
Omar,
the negativity has been...
Ryan's being ruthless with the button right now. Mike comes in with a super chat, says, here's a stat out of 5 years. Joe Douglas' best record was his rookie year when he didn't draft any of the players or sign any free agents, 23-57. I don't know that acronym, but blah, 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 blah. Is how I feel as well. Super frustrating. Although I will say, looking at the roster from where we were when he first got here to the roster where we are as it currently stands right now, feels very much like I like where Douglas has gotten us, with the exception of what we're getting out of the offense. And they put all their eggs in the one basket of Rodgers, and it fucking exploded in the worst nuclear kind of way. And it's really, really frustrating to see. Let's go over to Mutt Files. How you doing, brother?
What's up, Ryan? You can hear me?
I got you loud and clear.
Beautiful.
I'm getting a little bit of feedback in the microphone. Just getting a little feedback.
All I know.
There you go.
Okay.
I'll let you talk.
My bad. All right. Let me just say this. Are we happy with what we did now with Zach? I'm not a Zach truther or a Zachaneer, whatever y'all want to call it, but you don't bench him 2 years straight, and now you want to go back to him because Tim Boyle is equivalent of a New York trash can and Trevor Siemian is a dumpster. Really? I'm not shocked if he says no to playing. I would not blame him at all. Right? If he wants to play for the Jets this year, if he wants to play in general, I don't blame him if he wanted out either. Joe Douglas, with him though, yes, the criticism from the 2020 draft isn't the best, but look what Betson's doing now. He's better at right tackle. He's playing better, so he's showing why he deserves that second contract, or maybe like a 2-year deal. That's my opinion. Davis, we want him gone. Contract. He's playing better. What's his name? Jeff Olberg, defense coordinator, we want gone. Doing better. So, like with that, just give them a chance. And with Zach, I just hate it. This wasn't supposed to happen this year.
Right? Like, I wanted to see him on the bench. I wanted to have hope for after everything was like done, and like, it sucks. We threw him to the wolves and he got screwed for this year. Like last year, I understand, like we wanted him to be the guy. He wasn't the guy. This year, Zach got screwed.
He did. He 100% did. It was the same thing, though. This is what I didn't know. Like with Betson a little bit, though. Like his second and third year, he kept getting hurt. He was coming back. He was looking better, even with the physique and all that. People still wanted him gone. They wanted him out. Why? We had so many offensive line injuries. Why the heck do you want your star tackle gone? And now he's playing fine. The same thing I feel like with Zach. Rodgers came here to help him. And if you really didn't want to throw Zach out there and let him have that kind of struggle, week 2 to week 5, you would have got Kirk Cousins. Josh Dobbs, somebody who's played more than 5 snaps in the league, who actually can start.
Preach,
it's crazy.
Mudfiles. Preach. You've been ejected from the cockpit. We got Jay joining the show. Jay, how you doing, brother?
Hey, what's going on, boss?
Dude, life as a Jet fan sucks. It never gets easy.
I feel you, man. I read the report and I was thinking about it, and I realized I was like, with Zach, Aaron Rodgers went down, and they threw all their support behind him. Their support for him never unwavered, even when he was at fault. I feel like Salah always had his back. They finally realized, hey, it might be time to move on or give somebody else a try. It didn't work out. Now they're going back to him. I don't really think he has a right to have this position.
Oh, I agree.
If it's true,
he shouldn't make it public for sure. But I understand him having the feelings. That's more what I'm getting at.
I feel you, but guess what? Play better.
Sack up. Do your job.
They didn't bench you because you were playing well. Let's not forget that he sucked. Let's just be honest here. He sucked, and unfortunately, Boyle and Simeon suck even worse. But he still sucks.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's all just because they wanted to see if they could get a spark. I think Salah knew he was playing the best quarterback in Zach, and I think Zach knew he was the best quarterback, and it's just like the whole room sucks.
Yeah, exactly. And, like the whole year, man, Salah stood up there. Salah never throws any of his players under the bus, but he stood up there and defended him, and now you're talking about you don't want to go in. Man, be quiet. Get back in. Do what you got to do. Really, to be quite honest with you, I'm at the point right now where I would rather not have him play because I think he might win a couple games.
I agree. I think he's the best quarterback on the roster, and I want that top 5 pick.
I'm over the season. Let's get a high draft pick. Maybe draft Marvin Harrison Jr., one of those guys, and reload for next year and keep Salah. Because let me tell you something: the way the defense balled yesterday, those players still play for their coach. They love him. So if you're against Salah, man, because he doesn't bash his players publicly or whatever, then you probably just didn't like him from the get. So yeah.
I completely agree, Jay. So Jay spitting some facts right there. I think he's 100% right. I think Zach should not vocalize this to the coaching staff. I understand how he feels, but I do think that when you look at just how this team has been handled with Salah, I think Salah's been a bullet sponge for questions in terms of media, hot questions week in and week out about the quarterback situation that Joe Douglas created and Joe Douglas sustained. That's why I want to see Joe Douglas on the podium. Just answer the fans some questions. We pay too much damn money, put too much blood, sweat, and tears into this to have to put up with this week in and week out. And you could tell that Salah is frustrated. And I don't think it's necessarily 100% on Zach. I don't think it's 100% on Salah. We've got Charles joining the show. Charles, how you doing, brother?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm been better. This shit sucks.
I did watch your short video of you coming out of the theater. That was pretty awesome. I'm glad you saw Godzilla -1.
Dude, Godzilla was badass. If you haven't seen Godzilla, definitely, absolutely go see it. 100%. It's not.
I've heard a lot of good things about it.
It's all subtitled. It's all dubbed, but it is so good. I didn't know what I was walking into. I was expecting a monster movie. I got Oppenheimer, but sci-fi. Incredible.
Oppenheimer was a great movie too.
Well, that's what I'm saying. This was sci-fi Oppenheimer. That's kind of what it felt like, sort of.
Anyways, I completely agree with you on the fact that this is all not on Zach. I mean, everyone's like, Zach sucks. Zach sucks. He's not without fault, but this kid was a project coming. Oh, yes? Yes, Dad. As I was saying, before my dad interrupted me.
Your 2 minutes, Charles. Use it how you want.
I understand when Zach was coming out of college, he was a project. And the thing is, I don't think Zach was really put in the position to succeed. And I really believe that the offensive line hasn't been great for the past 3 years. The offense in general hasn't been great. The play calling hasn't been great. And the thing is that people say, Zach freaking sucks. You can't. Look, I'm not saying Zach is not without fault, but you can't put it all on the young man. Tim Boyle Wasn't very good against Miami. He wasn't that good against the Falcons. I almost forgot the team we played against like yesterday.
It was an easily
That's how
forgettable
forgettable the
game
game was.
based on our offensive production.
But the thing is,
Boom, Charles, go do something, whatever your dad was telling you about. Love you, Charles. Thank you so much for the call. The Knicks realist comes in and says, I'm not a Jets fan, but does this show management and the coaching staff is soft? A Mormon stood up for himself and said, I'm not playing, F that. So we don't know if he actually did that, because I don't think he went up to the coach and said, yo, I'm not playing right now. Like, screw that. Because I do think they would oust his ass. I think they'd be like, yo, you're done. But I do think Zach probably vocalized it to a few different players on the team, and it's not great to have that. But I completely rationalize his thought process. Like, yo, you were just scapegoating me 2 weeks ago. I'm clearly the best quarterback here. You guys know that. I know that. This is on the GM for fucking shit in the bed, and like the offense for just blowing. Zach's not totally absolved of like fault, but he is the winner of the last 2 weeks of Jets football, in my opinion. Nick's realist. Thank you so much for the super chat. Sonny from Long Island. Sonny, how you doing, brother?
Hey Ryan, how you doing, man? Please forgive my black screen. I'm just feeling under the weather today in my room.
Totally
But,
all right.
Yeah, you know, just to touch on some of the failures, Ryan. I mean, I think it started in the draft with Will McDonald. I think after that,
Dude, I think Will McDonald's going to be a good player. I really do, but it's so frustrating to see that pick and then know you're probably going to have to let an elite edge rusher go in Bryce Huff or sell
yeah,
Will McDonald for a loss. Like, that's
yeah,
what like really irritates me, and it should have been a
he
pick
was
that was made
probably
for the now.
drafted. He was probably drafted so they can let Bryce Hoff walk or whatever.
Yep,
But I mean,
completely agree.
okay, short on receivers, offensive line, the most unlucky O line in the NFL. No backup quarterback. No moves made at the trade deadline. I mean, this just goes on and on and on. And I know some fans are doing the regular Jet thing that we all do, looking forward to next year and the draft and all of that. I mean, who's to say they won't draft another pass rusher with their first overall pick? Would you be surprised, Ryan,
I
if they
don't
do
you put
that?
that bad juju on us, Sonny. Don't you do
I
it.
mean, it wouldn't surprise me. They'll go, hey, he's an
Honestly, it
amazing
wouldn't, but
player.
I don't want to think about it. Come on.
I don't know. I mean, this is, they look so bad right now, Ryan, that I'm really not sure how much better they would have been with 40-year-old Aaron Rodgers.
Dude, I honestly, Rodgers going down, while I'm still upset. And I feel like we're snake bitten. And I'd rather see Aaron Rodgers behind this offensive line than not see Aaron Rodgers at all. But like
Right.
keeping the first round pick and potentially getting a blue chip tackle or wide receiver that can be with us for the next 10 years to go with the rest of this young team to really juice the offense while Rodgers is here. This stuff gets me like silver line, right?
We were thinking Super Bowl before the season.
I know.
And then-
Sonny, you've been ejected from the cockpit. All right, let's go to Sam. Sam's going to be my last caller. Sam, how you doing, brother?
How about you?
Shit sucks.
Yeah.
I hate it. Hate everything.
First on the agenda, it's not Zach Wilson talk, but we need to extend Ashton Davis.
Ooh, I would
just give him a
love
blank
to
check.
see that. Yeah, not
that's
a blank
probably
check,
why
but I
Amos
do want to bring him
released.
back for like Chuck Clark money. Like if they want to give him $4 million a year,
Yeah,
I'm good with that.
he was probably the reason Amos was released, if I had to guess.
I would
Or
bet
they
so.
agreed to let him go.
I bet they were like, yo, Ashton's getting more reps. He's making more plays out there. Sorry, Amos, you're like out the door. I want to see Cook out the door too. Like his ass fucking caused 2 fumbles yesterday.
Yeah, he doesn't block. That's his biggest problem. Then seeing the Cardinals post on Twitter, Michael Carter breaking up like a 32-yard run.
Oh yeah,
you're just sitting there. You're like, what? Come on.
It's O-line. It's O-line. It's the injuries. Yeah. It's the incompetency on the O-line. It's just everything about it. The entire offense. It's like it's not just one thing. It's like the entirety of everything.
Well, the problem is when you have a team that's afraid to throw the ball 10 yards down the field, you can stack the box, you can do whatever you want. You know that you're not going to be able to give the quarterback any time. They're all coming at you, and quarterback's afraid to take a risk.
Now, do you think
One
they
big thing
told
I noticed
Zach
yesterday
not
was
to
that
take the risk? Like, hey, let our defense like try to win the game, and Zach's been bottled up, and he's not letting it rip, and now he's like trigger shy.
I'd rather them just season's over. Just try a bunch of crap now. I don't care if we lose 70-3.
Dude, I want to see some
let's
like
just do
wildcat. Give me some Zach Wilson, Brees Hall. If you want to throw Dalvin Cook in there, or Izzy or whatever, just let them fucking run wild. Like crazy
The
offense.
one
Go college.
frustrating thing I saw yesterday with Tim Boyle is he never, not to knock Tyler Conklin, but he never took his eyes off of Conklin. Third down, it was Conklin's got 3 guys on him. Let me try to rocket that ball in there when Garrett Wilson's 10 yards down,
Dude,
wide
Garrett
open
Wilson
by
should
6.
be the first look on every single fucking passing play. 100%. Sam, thank you so much for the call. You've been ejected from the cockpit. All right, boys and girls, please drop a like down below. I'll answer your comment questions as I see them pop up in the video post live. I'm going to hop off now. I'm going live with the AFC East Roundtable with them over at 6 o'clock. So, guys, tune in over there. Support Richie and I. We're going to have a bunch of people ripping on us from the Dolphins, the Bills, the Patriots. So we're going to need a little bit of Jet fucking support over there. And then we'll be back for the call-in show tonight, 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock. I got to hear so many more things. I'm sure we'll hear more stuff coming out over the next few hours here. So boys and girls, thank you so much for tuning in. This is Jets Talk signing off. JETS.